Hey everyone, welcome to Peace Through Truth. It is Thursday, February 19th, 2015, 8:52 p.m. as I'm recording this. I just wanted to do a quick expose on another Presstitute. Haven't done any Presstitute propaganda parallelization in a while, so let's get right at it, right? To be 100% honest with you, I had no idea which direction this was going to go at first. I figured that this guy, the Zerata guy, would just have business ties to Halliburton, KBR, and all the other war-making companies, all the defense contractors and private military contractors. That's usually what happens. Cheney, Bush, all of them, they all had stock in those companies, so they were making like $26 per paper plate by the time it got to Iraq. And that's one of the big reasons for those wars. Anyway, this guy was, well, he was in a lot of important positions. We'll get right to that in a second. I, unfortunately, because of my time limit, cannot play this 6-minute long CBS News clip. But I can tell you that it is bullshit. Among other things, they claim to have finally got a new photo of the big bad al-Baghdadi when he was in captivity, alleged American captivity, a few years back. So somehow the news never got a hold of this photo before, and I wanted to do a reverse image search of that photo because I have a feeling it's a composite, or that is a photo from his Facebook page from Israel, So I did a little digging around, and I came up with the photo on the Bing search. I couldn't get this photo on the Google search yet. For some reason, it didn't come up on my Google search for Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. But so I came up on Bing, and I decided to go check out the link from which it came, which ended up being an article from BusinessInsider.com. Now, because of time, I can't really go over the bullshit article, but I found some excellent documents here. The Baghdadi detainee file. Now, I don't have the time to go over it all, but you can screenshot it. You can press pause, do whatever you got to do. I'll leave a link in the description box. You can come here and check these out for yourself. I think it's 3 pages. It's alleged records. And what I find interesting is date of birth, exemption B6. Why is his date of birth blacked out with an exemption B6 next to it? And then the next few pages are all basically the same. Exemption FB3, FI3. I mean, we don't know what that means, and they've blocked out everything else, So they're showing you these records, but everything that you might need is basically exempt. So anyway, I'll leave that in the description box, and after coming over to TinEye and doing a reverse image search, if you guys don't know about TinEye.com, I'm going to do a Truth or Tools video on this. It's excellent to track down images. It helps you verify stories and find out sources where images came from originally. You can tell when newspapers are reusing images from old disasters and old fake crises. It's awesome. Anyway, so came to TinEye, 0 results for this image out of 9.469 billion images. So they didn't even, their crawler didn't get to this web page yet. In all fairness, it has not yet gotten to Business Insider. So I'm not saying that there's any kind of like smoking gun here or anything like that of this being a fake image. I'm just saying that this image has never been loaded onto the internet. It wasn't loaded onto the internet anytime around his captivity at all. So quite literally a brand new photograph come out of somewhere all of a sudden, even though it's allegedly years old. So it happens. It's stuff that gets declassified, just a little bit fishy. So I figured I'd point that out. And alright, well, getting back to the Presstitute. Here we go. Juan Zerata. Now, I looked at the Wikipedia page and I figured a bunch of people were going to give me shit, so I didn't want to start there. But I like to use Wikipedia just as a glancer to see if there's anything interesting that catches my eye, and in fact, there was. But to keep people happy, we'll go to the whitehouse.gov files first. Juan Carlos Zareta serves as the Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy National Security Advisor for combating terrorism. In his current role, Mr. Zareta is responsible for developing and overseeing the effective implementation of the U.S. government's counterterrorism strategy. Prior to joining the NSC, Mr. Zareta served as the Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Terrorist Financing and Financial Crimes, where he led Treasury's domestic and international efforts to attack terrorist financing, build comprehensive anti-money laundering systems, and expand the use of Treasury powers to advance national security interests. Mr. Zareta also led the U.S. government's global efforts to hunt Saddam Hussein's assets, resulting in the return of over $3 billion of Iraqi assets from the U.S. and around the world. Prior to working at the Department of Treasury, Mr. Zareta served as a prosecutor in the Department of Justice's Terrorism and Violent Crime Section, where he worked on terrorism cases such as the I.S.I.S coal investigation, which we know to be an inside job. Mr. Zareta previously worked as a federal law clerk for Chief Judge Judith Keep in the Southern District of California. Mr. Zareta is a magna cum laude graduate of Harvard University and a cum laude graduate of Harvard Law School. He studies as a Rotary International Fellow at the University de Salamanca, Spain. Mr. Zareta is the author of Forging Democracy, a book on the impact of U.S. foreign policy on democratization in Central America. Mr. Zareta was born and raised in Santa Ana, California, and he is a member of the California Bar. He is a member of Mater D High School's Ring of Honor, which is suspicious as hell. It's honorary Hall of Fame. Now, the Ring of Honor, I'll refer you to Round Saturn's Eye. There's a video he has on the I.S.I.S, ISIS Horus sect, where he goes into the ring and the Vatican and what it really breaks down to, the Latin terms and all that, which I find very interesting. Whether you believe it's true or not, it's, I think, very compelling and worth consideration. Now, going to the next thing. Bruce, you alright? Oh, my dog just threw up. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Who knows? He has plenty of room to roam and eat things, so occasionally his stomach just doesn't agree with him. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to go over was the I.S.I.S. If you don't know what I.S.I.S is, I'll leave a link to this page. Basically, it's just another tentacle of the fucking beast, essentially. It's one more fucking evil organization, but if you want to learn further, you can either follow the link or do your own research on it. Now, this page is basically just spitting the same shit with a different flavor. It's not a whole lot of new information, which brought me back to his Wikipedia page. Now, running through it, it's basically just a recap of the articles we already went over from the whitehouse.gov and the I.S.I.S page. Essentially the exact same thing. The only things I really saw that stood out were the fact that he had built a comprehensive anti-money laundering systems, which if you can build comprehensive anti-money laundering systems, you can obviously help build comprehensive money laundering systems, because you have to know the tricks of money laundering to combat it. So, I mean, that doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out. And expanded the use of Treasury powers to advance national security issues. Obviously, we know that probably infringes upon the rights of the citizens while helping out the corporations. Moving on, the most important thing, the big eye-catcher, was in June of 2014, he accepted an appointment to the board that oversees the Vatican's Institute for the Works of Religion, a move announced by Cardinal Pell of the Vatican Finance Ministry as part of Pope Francis I's efforts to clean up the finances of the Vatican. Zareta currently sits on the advisory board for nonprofit America Abroad Media. Now, I can't even click on that because I don't have the time to go down that rabbit hole. I don't know, in 15 minutes that Google gives me. Again, it mentions how he's the magna cum laude graduate at Harvard University and Harvard Law School, a Rotary International Fellow. It mentions that he went to the Salamanca, Spain Universidad. About how he went to Mater D High School. Now, getting to this Vatican thing, for any of you that didn't know, the Institute for the Works of Religion is commonly known as the Vatican Bank. And guess what? It is a privately held institute. Imagine that. So the Vatican Bank is a privately held institute. Obviously, depending on who you ask, the people that run the world, either the Rothschilds or the Jesuits, are the two most common answers. I've always kind of leaned towards the Jesuits since they were around longer than the Rothschilds. It only makes sense to me. And to tell you the truth, it would really make sense that if you were really running the world, that you would have people working for you that were also working for the U.S. government in the Bush and Obama administrations. That's just, to me, would seem natural progression, especially this being in 2014, July 2014. I would love to see exactly when ISIS came on the scene. Wow, guys, I don't know what to say. I actually might be on something. So it says here that since July 9th of 2014, the president of the IOR is this Jean-Baptiste de François. And if you look here, obviously, that is the 9th of July right here, okay? But going to the Islamic State, on the 29th of June 2014, the Islamic State proclaimed itself to be a worldwide caliphate. So literally, the I.S. proclaimed itself to be a worldwide caliphate the 29th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days later, the Vatican changes up their private bank from the system that they have been running since World War fucking II. Alright? If that's not some sketch ass shit, I don't know what is. I'm going to have to look a lot further into this. That's very interesting to me, because this guy was working for the Bushes, then worked for the Obamas, and now he's working for the Vatican. And wow, the timing just seems to be very, very coincidental to me that this private bank happens to hire an American that was in 2 presidents' cabinets exactly at the same time frame that the Islamic State, the alleged Islamic State, is proclaiming itself a caliphate. I think that the Vatican Bank had to set up a new bank account for the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. That's my take on that shit. They needed to set the bank up in 42 to funnel all the money in from the war, from the Jews, the Jews that did die, and then all the other assets and wealth that was seized in the war. That was what World War II was really about, was consolidating power in corporations. For those of you that aren't really aware of that, I am going to have to do another part to this, but essentially what I want to get to is you can't trust a Presstitute. Listen to this introduction real quick as my outro, and we'll see if he mentions anywhere in here this guy working for the Vatican.
Welcome to Flashpoints. Juan Zarate, CBS News senior national security analyst, is here with me to discuss ISIS. And are they gaining ground?
They are, Jeff, and I think part of it is the ground that they're gaining in Syria in particular.
Now, 2 things there. I didn't hear him say anything about the Vatican. I didn't hear him say Juan Zarate, bank advisor for the Vatican, or anything like that. And did you notice how he went straight to Syria? Syria's a sovereign nation. We have no business fighting in Syria. I'll have to make a follow-up video to this, guys, but I think there's a lot for us to chew on here. If you have any information that you find that you'd like to share, go ahead and please leave it down in the comment section. And thank you very much for your time, guys. I know I'm a very, very dull commentator to listen to. Take care. God bless.